Bell Time by Sophie Tuvey, Chapter 26. Being mad at Michael seems to help fuel my frenzied pace in this crazy week. By lunchtime on Tuesday, I've still not been observed by anyone, and now it's starting to annoy me. It's not that these lessons are wasted, but it's so hard maintaining that level of energy all the time. I feel so cross that all of this is down to a whim of David Clark's. In my mind, David and Michael are now so closely in league with each other that they're almost the same person. I strongly dislike them both. Janet Patchell emails me a formal invitation to be interviewed for the HOD position and includes some instructions. I will need to prepare a 30-minute lesson, analyse some data, and be questioned by the panel. Jeff catches me in the corridor to check I received it. How many people are being interviewed? I ask. It's basically a way of asking if it's just me versus Michael. 2, he says. Head to head then. Michael enters my room and hovers annoyingly by the door, the draft chilling the air. Did you get the email? He asks. Yes, I answer, and then look at him expectantly. Now's the time, Michael. Now's the time to stop being my rival and start acting like a boyfriend. He stalls, and I raise my eyebrows. The rugby team is playing Pressfield after school. Would you be free to drive the bus? Why can't Steve and Gareth do it? They want to take an extra team, and they've hired another minibus, but then Gareth's daughter was sick in school, and he's had a phone call to go and collect her. I said I'd ask you. I sigh. It's probably the worst possible week for me to be chauffeuring the school rugby team, and you criticise my driving. Pressfield is only 15 minutes drive, Michael pleads. He actually is pleading with me. And I thought I could come along and we could spend some time together. I facepalm. It's the only possible reaction. So, Michael, instead of just asking me out on a date, you've signed me up to drive a minibus and are suggesting we can have some quality time on the sidelines of the rugby pitch with the PE department? Look, when you say it like that, it sounds bad. Correct. But we don't have to watch the rugby. We can go for a coffee or something. You are possibly the worst boyfriend I've ever had, and that's saying something. How many boyfriends have you had? A few. What is that, like 1 or 2 or 10? 3. Now stop interrogating me. So I'll just tell Steve to cancel the minibus and the B team game then? I groan. You are manipulating me. It's fine. They can rearrange. They'll probably be able to fit it in next year sometime. I'll do it, Michael. I explode. Now leave me alone. Thanks, Jen. I knew I could count on you. My afternoon lesson with Year 8 flies past with no visitors. At the end of the day, Michael escorts me to the yard and gives me the keys to the hired minibus, presumably so I can't run off and abscond. Thanks, Jen. You're a star, Steve shouts to me from the other bus. I give a reluctant wave and then start the bus. It's a sign of how desperate Michael is that he's volunteered me to drive it again. Prestfield is our main rival school. It's on the other side of the city, and it was built around the same time as Woodlock. Again, a masterpiece of 1960s architecture. But it does have a lot more field space than us, because whereas our school is in the middle of a residential area, their site backs onto countryside. The drive is mercifully short, and the hired bus is much newer than our own, so the ride feels smoother. Michael even lets go of the dashboard. The rugby team piles out and heads towards the pitch. Shall we go to get a drink? Michael asks. OK, I saw a snack van in the lay-by back there. I hop down from the driver's side. A snack van, Michael repeats. Yes, you can buy me a bacon roll and a cup of tea. The sky is shrouded in grey cloud, with weak sun rays breaking through. I've got my winter coat, hat, scarf and gloves, and Michael's got a coat over his usual suit. We sit on the wobbly stainless steel chairs as traffic zooms past, steam from the drinks rising under our noses. You know, you ate a ham roll at lunch, so maybe you ought to vary your diet a bit more, he comments as I bite into the bacon roll. I don't care. This is his big chance to apologise, to make it up to me, and he decides to berate my choice of snack van food? What kind of school is Pressfield? I give a sardonic laugh. It's a lot worse than Widlock, if that's what you mean. Why? 4 heads in 4 years. Poor results, challenging catchment area, the list goes on. Right. He seems deep in thought. It's clearly not on his radar that we might need to talk. I sigh and drink my tea. Shall we head back to the game? He asks. That was it? That was our quality time? We walk back to Pressfield in silence. I've finished my roll and I'm savouring the dregs of my tea. The last thing I want to do is stand on a muddy field and be a bystander to the banter of the PE boys. I'm going to stay in the bus and get a few things done, I announce. Oh, right. He looks torn. I should probably go and see Steve. Yes, I reply. Yes, you should. My anger at Michael is possibly only surpassed by Katie's. We rant down the phone to each other, and I don't reply to his text, "Are you okay?" No, Michael, I am not okay, and if you can't work out why, then you are severely lacking in emotional intelligence. I break my silence on the WC chat too. He's gone too far. Me. I have a date now for the job interview, and Michael is being very frustrating, so I'm not really speaking to him. Claire. What's he doing? And when's the interview? Me. Next week. He dropped me off at Dad's after our time away, then barely contacted me for the rest of the week. Dina. Is he ghosting you? Me. No, he tried to speak to me today, but he doesn't get it. I want someone who's going to be there for me, not disappear. Claire. Has he got cold feet, or is he just busy? Me. He's always busy, but you make time for people you care about, don't you? Dina. Of course. Claire. Some guys don't, though. They compartmentalise. Me. Well, he signed me up to drive the rugby bus so we could spend some time together. The ensuing barrage of emojis says it all. I need to stay focused for this inspection. Throughout Wednesday morning, I still have no visitors, including Michael. With Year 9, I'm well into the lesson when I notice a scrap of paper on my desk. Picking it up, I see my address scrawled on it in untidy handwriting. Flat 2B, Harcourt Way. That's it. No message. I look around at my class. Did anyone leave a note on my desk? I ask. They all look confused and shake their heads. Are you okay, miss? Victoria, a girl sitting at the front of the class, asks. Fine, I say automatically. Carry on, everyone. I finished the lesson and put the note in my bag. I put on my coat. I need a walk to clear my head. As I head towards the school gates, I pass Tyler and his crew, playing basketball. Hi, miss, Tyler says, too loud to be polite, and with an insolent grin. I'm going to Harcourt Way tonight. Have you ever been there? I quicken my pace. I don't want him to think he scared me, so I wave my hand in the air dismissively. Not now, Tyler, I've got things to do. It was him. But what does it mean? Is the note a threat? What should I do? My head more foggy than before, I step out of the school gates and follow the footpath. The trees are looking bare, and the air is cold, but it's dry. I can smell the pine trees. Stupidly, it reminds me of Michael's aftershave. I breathe in and wish that things were different. I miss him, like a deep soul ache, and it hurts so much that he doesn't seem to feel the same. I walk a quick circuit, but I can't unwind. There's too many questions buzzing in my head, and I have no idea what to do about Tyler. As I approach the gates again, I spot 2 of my mentor group girls. One of them is crying. Maisie, what's wrong? Maisie is definitely a memorable pupil. She's a girl who looks a lot younger than she is, like she should still be in primary school. She's a little overweight and always out of breath. She has bright ginger curls that bounce as she speaks, and her front teeth protrude, not unlike a rabbit's. Miss Baker, she stutters with a lisp. A boy's being nasty to me and stole my bag, and he's hidden it, and I don't know where he's put it. He said he should have been given Maisie's place on the trip. Emily, the other girl, tells me. It must be Tyler. Right. I march towards the yard. Tyler is bouncing a basketball with Ollie and Sam, looking complacent. Here he is, this entitled child, and he's picking on a girl from my mentor group who's clearly got enough problems in life without him making it worse for her. Where is Maisie's bag? I demand. Tyler shrugs and grins at Ollie. I haven't got time to waste here. I speak sharply. Last chance, Tyler, before I go to your head of year. I don't know what you're talking about, he says, avoiding my gaze and continuing to pass the basketball. Your choice then, I snap, and head to the staff room. Eventually, I find the head of year, Matt Myers, who's a stocky rugby player and incurs instant fear in the boys, and Maisie's bag is retrieved. The bell rings, and I realise I now have to teach Tyler's class. I rush back to the classroom, and an inspector is waiting for me. So sorry, I got held up in an incident, I explain breathlessly as I hastily show her a seat, log back onto my computer, and welcome in the boys who are waiting. Tyler is nowhere to be seen. Inwardly railing at the appalling luck of being observed for the one lesson where I am late, I try to sail ahead anyway with the topic. Today we're looking at the features of a newspaper article. I've placed some broadsheets out on the desks. The boys who are present, and there's still a few missing, start looking through and making a list of features. I take the register and wonder if I should make a call to the office about the missing students. Just as I'm about to lift up the phone, Tyler saunters in with his friends. The inspector scribbles down a note, and I can feel her looking expectantly at me to deal with this appropriately. You're late, boys, I say, trying to keep my tone friendly, but the hard edge seeps through. Mr. Myers was speaking to us. Tyler's eyes flash with anger, blaming me. It might be good to leave other students' bags alone then, I retort. Sit down then, boys, and join in our activity. As I feel my anger simmering, I move away from Tyler to speak to some of the more responsive boys, who are actually doing the task. But I can see Tyler is deliberately taking a very long time to sit down, moving his chair, and then swapping it for another, identical one. Then keeping his coat on and zipped up, and I can see him chatting to the boys on his desk without even opening his exercise book. Coats off, please. I project my voice as eerily as possible. Don't mention his name. Don't turn it into a confrontation. Ollie, what have you found out about newspaper features? Before he can open his mouth, I hear Tyler say something that sounds like, don't answer. Ollie gives a grin and says, I dunno. Okay, Spencer then. Spencer makes eye contact with Tyler, who shakes his head slightly. I don't know either, he says. Well, you've all been looking at a newspaper, so you must have noticed something, I say, trying not to get cross, but failing. I lost interest when I saw there was no page 3, Tyler mutters, loud enough so everyone can hear, and the boys start sniggering. I feel my cheeks turning red. This means war. Tyler, what do we call the main title on the front of the newspaper? I dunno, miss. It's a headline, I say, knowing that he knows this and determined to make a point. Say it again for me. What is the main title called? Sorry, miss, I don't think I heard you the first time. He mocks a yawn. The boys snigger more loudly. I have to just move on and get through the lesson. At every possible point, if Tyler can make it difficult for me, he does. When they come to a writing task, he puts his hand up. Yes, Tyler? I don't have a pen. Would you like to ask me if you can borrow one? Can I have a pen? He asks in an equally rude, abrupt manner. I open my drawer, find a pen, and walk right up to his desk. I'm giving you a warning now, Tyler, I say in a low tone. You need to think carefully about your behaviour. You need to think about yours too, miss, he mutters in a biting tone. I hesitate. Ordinarily, I would send him to work in another room at this point, but I have an inspector in the class, and I don't want to send him to Michael. I swallow my anger and move on to another desk. My goal for the rest of the lesson is not to cry in front of the class. Somehow, I limp through the rest of it, and the bell finally goes. Although then, I'm facing the inspector, and I'm dreading it like an axe about to fall. She's about Janet's age, smartly dressed in a pinstripe suit. She looks at me with concern in her eyes once the last pupil has gone. Are you all right? she begins, and it's so unexpected, and I'm so exhausted that I burst into tears. I'm sorry, I say, brushing tears away awkwardly. This is not very professional. Please, sit down. She takes my arm and guides me into a chair. She waits for me as I cough and sniffle. You prepared a good lesson, she says. You're dealing with some very difficult individuals in this class. Are they usually like this? I nod, still brushing tears with the back of my hand. There was an incident at lunch, I managed to say. He got into trouble and he obviously resents me for it. I don't mention the note. I'd say there was a lot of aggression evident. In fact, I'd say that this is a form of harassment, and I'm sorry to say it ties in with a culture of misogyny that I've observed in this school. I'm gobsmacked to hear her say this, and all I can do is nod dumbly. I am going to raise this with David, she says firmly. Please don't feel you've done anything wrong, but I'd like you to come with me.